ever felt overwhelmed by the weight of life's challenges? We've all been there, feeling like the world is on our shoulders. Each worry, each regret, and each expectation becomes a stone we carry, making the journey through life feel heavier with every step. But what if there's a way to let go? To release the weight and move forward with peace and clarity? In today's video, I'm going to share a story that might just shift your perspective, a Zen tale about a young monk struggling with his burdens, and the powerful lesson his master teaches him about letting go. It's a lesson we all need to hear, especially in a world that constantly asks us to carry more than we can handle. You're watching The Motivation Zone at Freedom, where we focus on inner growth, mindfulness, and learning to live a life of purpose and balance. If you've ever felt overwhelmed, stick around. This story could be the breakthrough you didn't know you needed. Picture a young monk, still early on his spiritual journey, weighed down by the struggles of life. Day by day, the burdens of his thoughts and emotions seem to grow heavier, and despite his training, he can't seem to find peace. He feels frustrated, as if he's failing at what should be the simplest task, living mindfully. Exhaustion creeps in, and with it, a deep sense of overwhelm. Seeing his distress, the monk approaches his master, a figure of calm wisdom. The master listens quietly as the monk pours out his complaints, his voice rising with each word. But instead of offering immediate advice, the master remains silent, taking in the monk's turmoil with a patient understanding. After listening to the young monk's grievances, the master simply hands him a large, heavy bag filled with stones and says, "Carry this with me up the hill." Confused, the monk obeys without question, hoisting the heavy load onto his shoulders. Together, they begin their climb up the steep path, the weight of the stones making every step a struggle. As they ascend, the monk feels his muscles burn, his breath grow shallow, and his frustration grow even deeper. Each stone feels heavier than the last, and with each step, the burden becomes more unbearable. The climb seems never-ending, and all the while, the master walks beside him silently, as if unbothered by the journey. Finally, they reach the top, and the monk, drenched in sweat and out of breath, collapses under the weight of the stones. He looks at the master in desperation and exclaims, "The load is too heavy. I can't carry it any longer." The master simply nods and replies, "Yes, just like the burdens you carry in your heart. You can always put them down." In this simple statement lies a profound truth. We carry emotional and mental burdens far longer than we need to, grudges, fears, expectations, and regrets. They weigh us down, making the journey of life more difficult than it needs to be. But just like the bag of stones, these burdens are not permanent. We have the choice to let them go. The master's lesson is clear. While life will always have its challenges, much of the suffering we experience comes from our own unwillingness to release what no longer serves us.
Let's pause and truly reflect on the story and its deeper meaning. We all carry burdens, some visible, others hidden deep within our minds and hearts. These burdens come in many forms: worries about the future, regrets about the past, unhealed pain, expectations we place on ourselves or others, and even fear of failure or judgment. But here's the important question: are these burdens serving you, or are they weighing you down, making your life more difficult than it needs to be? Think about your own life for a moment. What are the heavy stones you're carrying right now? Are they stress from work, tension in a relationship, fear of uncertainty, or unresolved feelings from your past? The truth is, just like the monk in the story, we often carry these invisible weights without questioning whether we need to. We get so used to the heaviness that we forget it's even there. But the moment you become aware of it, you have the power to put it down. Now, you might be wondering, how do I put it down? This is where mindfulness, self-awareness, and self-compassion come into play. Mindfulness is the practice of being fully present in the moment, aware of your thoughts and emotions, but not overwhelmed by them. When you practice mindfulness, you observe your thoughts and feelings as they arise, without judgment. It's as if you're watching them from a distance, like clouds passing in the sky. The important part is that you don't cling to them. Just like the monk with his bag of stones, you can choose to carry the thought or let it drift away. For example, let's say you're feeling overwhelmed by stress. Instead of getting lost in it, mindfulness allows you to take a step back and observe, I'm feeling stressed right now. By naming and acknowledging the emotion without resisting it, you give yourself the space to process it and ultimately let it go. Mindfulness teaches you that your thoughts and emotions are not permanent, they come and go, and you are not defined by them. Self-awareness is the next step. It's about digging deeper and recognizing what exactly it is that you're carrying. Sometimes we're so caught up in the routine of life that we don't realize we're holding onto things that hurt us. We may continue to stress over things we cannot control, or we may hold onto anger or guilt from something that happened years ago. Self-awareness is the practice of shining a light on these dark corners of the mind and asking, why am I still holding onto this? It might be painful to face these truths, but awareness is liberating. When you realize that you've been carrying the weight of someone else's expectations, for example, or the fear of making a mistake, you can start to question whether it's worth continuing to carry that load. Are these thoughts or emotions contributing to your growth, or are they holding you back? Self-awareness allows you to make conscious choices about what to keep and what to let go. Finally, self-compassion is what gives you the strength to let go. Often, the heaviest burdens we carry are the ones we impose on ourselves: guilt, shame, perfectionism, the need to always be strong. We think we're not allowed to make mistakes or feel weak, so we pile on even more weight. But self-compassion is about recognizing that you are human, and it's okay to be imperfect. It's okay to let yourself off the hook. When you practice self-compassion, you treat yourself with kindness. Instead of beating yourself up for not meeting every expectation, you give yourself permission to put down the stones of judgment and self-criticism. You say to yourself, it's okay, I'm doing my best, and that's enough. This act of kindness toward yourself lightens the load, allowing you to move forward without the unnecessary weight of negative self-talk. Dear friends, now I give you some practical tips to let go. Step 1 is mindful breathing. One of the simplest ways to practice mindfulness is through your breath. When you feel overwhelmed by a burden, take a few moments to breathe deeply and focus only on the sensation of breathing. As you inhale, imagine that you are filling yourself with calm and peace. As you exhale, imagine releasing whatever burden is weighing you down. Step 2, journaling. Writing down your thoughts can be a powerful way to gain clarity and self-awareness. Take some time to journal about what's troubling you. Ask yourself, what am I carrying that I don't need to? Sometimes, the act of putting your thoughts into words is enough to help you recognize the burdens you're holding on to. Step 3 is forgive yourself. If you're carrying guilt or regret, take a moment to forgive yourself. Understand that everyone makes mistakes, and you are no exception. Self-compassion is the key to lightening the emotional load. By forgiving yourself, you release the weight of the past and open up space for healing and growth. Last step is letting go meditation. Another practical tool is meditation specifically focused on letting go. Sit quietly, close your eyes, and visualize yourself carrying a heavy bag of stones. With each breath, imagine yourself removing a stone from the bag and placing it on the ground. Feel how your body becomes lighter as you release each burden. By practicing these techniques, you'll gradually notice that the weight you've been carrying starts to lessen. You'll find that life's challenges become easier to face when you're no longer burdened by unnecessary mental and emotional baggage. Just like the monk in the story, you'll realize that you have the power to put the load down whenever you choose. As we come to the end of this story, remember that just like the monk, we all have a choice. We can continue to carry the heavy stones of our emotional and mental burdens, or we can put them down. The weight we feel is often a reflection of what we hold onto inside. It's up to us to decide when it's time to release what no longer serves us and to walk more freely through life. Take a moment and reflect. What are the burdens you're ready to let go of today? I encourage you to share your thoughts or personal burdens in the comments below. Let's create a space where we can support one another in this journey of release and renewal. If this story resonated with you, don't forget to subscribe to the Motivation Zone at Freedom for more insightful content that inspires personal growth and mindfulness. And most importantly, remember you can always put the burden down.